Welcome back to A Life Worth Living, a place for real and raw conversations with people from all different walks of life. In a world with social media where people's best lives are on display, we all need refreshing reminders that no one is perfect and you are not alone. This is where you hear the greatest life lessons from the most incredible life stories. A daily reminder of how beautiful this life is and how life is truly worth living. Addee, babe, I'm so excited that you're here. You are the cutest human ever, and I'm just stoked to be able to talk with you and have you on. Your personality is like gold.
Oh, please. You are really nice. I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm really excited. Like, so flattered that you even asked me to come on here. Like, seriously, we're just doing nails all the time. So it's just like, we're always chatting, but let's just record it this time.
Addee has been my nail tech for,
oh gosh,
4 years? 5 years?
Oh my gosh, you were brunette.
Yeah.
And it was I was blonde.
We switched.
We switched.
It looks so good.
Thank you so much. You're so sweet. Yeah, we've known each other forever. We've been along for both of our rides. Mm-hmm. Like, literally. Did you know me before I had any children?
Yep. I know.
Well, I guess I had them really fast, so that makes sense. That happened very quickly.
Were you planning to get pregnant the first time?
Yeah.
Okay. I couldn't remember.
Yes.
So that's at least good.
Yeah. We love a planned baby. And we love the unplanned ones too. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we have both.
Yeah. Well, tell us about that, because you went through a little bit of a crazy ride because, you weren't expecting the second one to come so soon.
No. So, so my first baby, we waited like 5.5 years after we got married to start having babies. So we took our time and really planned it out. Yeah. And I actually had trouble getting pregnant with her a little bit. I wasn't ovulating, or my ovulation wasn't strong or something. So I had to start taking a pill. It's like Clomid, to make me ovulate.
And then
the first time I did the pill, I got pregnant.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So yeah, it worked. And I had my baby girl. And then when she was 10 weeks old, I found out I was pregnant again. So that was cool. It was fun.
10 weeks.
10 weeks old.
You literally had a baby 10 weeks prior to finding out you were pregnant.
Yes.
Unexpectedly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really worked.
I was literally, I was thinking maybe, listen, we were protecting, so that baby forced his way here. But still, I was like, okay, well, I just assumed I'd probably need to take that pill every time to get pregnant or something, but nope.
Wow.
And apparently you're more fertile right after you have a baby.
Good to know.
I know that now. But yeah, so
I remember you were just like, oh my gosh, your body goes through so much when you are pregnant and then right after giving birth. So for you to have no break in between. No. And I remember you were being honest with me. We're both so honest with each other. And
I'm honest with everybody. I was I was devastated. I literally couldn't handle it. And then I got it together and I was like, okay, it's a blessing. It's a gift. I'm excited. All of the things. Any baby is a gift. And, I humbled myself quickly, but I was definitely it's just hard. It's a big surprise. It's a big life change. I just had a huge life change of having a baby. I was learning how to be a mom for the first time while being pregnant.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Being sick, being so tired. And then my baby is obviously waking up in the middle of the night. Yeah. And it's just wild.
Were you nursing too?
No, I wasn't.
Okay, well, I was going to say that.
So that was good. Yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise, was your husband pretty supportive? Was he able to wake up and help?
Yeah, he still is. He's the most helpful. He's amazing.
Tyler, can you hear that?
Yes.
But it's hard when you're nursing because, if they wake up, you're the bottle. So it's not.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
Can really do much for the first little while. But you're pregnant. Oh my gosh. I'm glad you weren't nursing just because that would add a whole nother variable.
Oh.
And I've heard that hormones can kind of be difficult when you're nursing too. Well, I've heard both sides.
Yeah. But. Well, and that's the thing. I never ever nursed. So I from the get-go, she popped out, I put a bottle in her mouth. Okay. So I never even pumped. I never tried it. So I don't have an experience with nursing because I didn't with my second baby either.
Okay.
So I don't know. But I've also heard it's harder to get pregnant when you are nursing. So maybe if I was, I wouldn't have got pregnant that quickly.
Oh my gosh.
But I had my little girl first, and then I had my little boy, and so they're literally exactly 11 months apart.
Crazy.
So I had Carter, my daughter, in December of 2019, and then I was pregnant also for the year of 2020. So can we have a moment of silence? Because ew. And I gave birth that year. Bless all the moms that gave birth that year. And
so true.
Then I had my son Ashton November 2020. So then my daughter was turning 1 the following month. So they were both 0 years old for a whole month together.
That's crazy.
It's just crazy.
Wow. Mm-hmm. How did you navigate that with like just emotionally? I mean, physically is one thing, but
yeah.
I mean, there's every woman who's had a baby can understand that. And I haven't even had a baby yet, but like from all of my friends, I know the extent that like,
yeah,
I mean, it is exhausting, draining, and some people do experience like a little bit worse than others when it comes to the mental and emotional aspect, because it's all chemical. Like it's not something that you can really avoid or prevent as much.
I know.
But when you're in it, you know, it's hard. So, I mean, a lot of women can probably relate, but you were in a unique situation where you were like dealing with the post and the pre, like
literally.
How did you navigate it?
I felt like I didn't really experience a postpartum moment. I experienced 10 weeks of it, and then I was just pregnant again. So, I mean, it was just like, I just had to like buck up, honestly, because like, I'm not one that enjoys being pregnant. I'm not.
Some people do.
Some people do.
And that's fine.
Listen, like we love the cover girl pregnancies. We're jealous and we love that for you. But I did not have that.
Did you enjoy giving birth?
Yeah, I guess. Like it's cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was fully numb. I wasn't about to do the natural thing. Like, yes, girlies, we love that. Proud of you. But like, didn't want to be a part of it. So it was great, honestly, because I was induced both times. So that was dreamy too, because it was just planned. We live for a plan, and it was nice. But navigating like being a mom for the first time and being pregnant, which like, I don't want to like, I don't know. I don't want to I know people like literally plan that. Like some people want Irish twins. Some people want their kids that close in age, and they know they plan it. And I think you have a better mindset of when you like want something and plan it, and you're prepared for it a little bit.
Caught off guard.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like when something comes unexpected, and we don't like to say accidents. We like to say surprise, because you want a surprise, right?
Yeah.
Accidents are usually something you're not wanting.
Yeah.
But definitely a surprise. We want him, and he's literally been the perfect little blessing. And like and especially my pregnancy, like it made us make decisions that we wouldn't have made if I didn't have that happen. And like we wouldn't be in the house we're in now if that didn't happen. Yeah. And the house we're in is like everything. Is such a blessing, and it's like that's where I want to be for a long time. Aww. And we would have just we would have stayed where we were because we didn't need more room, but now we do. And so it's just like, I don't know, lots of prayers, lots of help from my mom. My husband was literally a dream. Like he's amazing. So he just like, the support is the main thing that kept me going and, kept me strong. But like, it's just hard. Like being a mom is hard.
Yeah.
And like, it's just the biggest shock to your system. Like, the first time having a child. Like the second time isn't as shocking, but it's still just like a huge life change because now I have 2.
Yeah. Going from 1 to 2 is a life change. And then 2 to 3 is even bigger. I've heard like once you have 2 kids, you're like, do I even want 3?
Oh, literally. Like, that's me right now. I'm like, I don't know if I want to do any more of this, because like, it's just like, it's so much busier, I guess. You're just constantly
you work
doing something.
Do you work full time still, or are you more part-time now?
I'm more part-time. I work 3 days a week.
Yeah.
So that's good.
By the way, if you're in Utah and you need a nail tech, I have gone to many, and I've always come back to Addee.
Yes,
I can't.
She's my girlie.
I can't. I don't have my cute nail design right now, but and I broke one.
But they're pretty. Oh my gosh.
I know. I'm sorry.
What are you doing? What happened?
But the designs are out of this world. Like, you can literally do anything. I feel like if you show you a picture, if anyone shows you a picture, you're like, okay.
Well, I'm always down. Yeah. Like, I'm a down girl. I'm down for the challenge, even if I'm like kind of pooping my pants about like what the art is they're showing me, like which happens. I'm still just like, listen, girl, I've learned that if I'm not like confident and like, yes, I can do that, I do worse. Like, if I'm nervous about it and I'm very vocal about how I'm nervous, I mean, it's just kind of a thing in life, you know. I
was gonna say,
what you put out is what you get from the experience, I guess. Like, if you say you're excited about something instead of saying you're scared, you usually have a way better experience.
I think that sounds like that's what you did with your pregnancy, you know, with that whole situation.
I tried, I definitely tried. It took me a minute though, because I was feeling really bad for myself for like the first 2 months probably, and then I was like, okay, girl, this is where you are. You are having another baby.
Which is so normal.
Oh yeah, I think so. I mean, that's just life. Yeah. Like, stuff comes up. You can't
control everything. Yeah. So there's things that will happen that are surprises or unexpected. And I think that mindset is so amazing whenever you can kind of get into that moment where you're realizing, okay, I'm here. It's not going to change. Like, you know,
we are. Yeah.
And
this is the path we're on now.
We're going to make this a good thing. Yes. You know, because anything can be a good thing, and I think, you know, that's what I'm really passionate about. And so it's really cool because you've experienced that in your life in a lot of different ways, and everyone has, hopefully, you know. Hopefully we can turn negatives into positives, and hopefully we're able to, but it's hard. It's not easy. Like, you went through 2 months of it being really hard, and that's so normal, and I feel like anyone and everyone could relate to that who have had a baby. So, you know, I think that it sounds like that's something that you hold on to in your life.
Yeah. I mean, bringing it down to something as simple as doing nail art on someone's nails. It's like, it's like my attitude towards this is going to make the outcome what it is. So a good attitude towards it or a bad attitude towards it is going to depend. Like, literally, I'm like, whenever I'm like, oh, I don't like that they picked that. Or like, I'm just like, I don't know about that one, you know, like, or I'm just like, yeah, like, never done that before, but let's do it. Yeah. Like, I usually am not as happy with the outcome of their nails. Like, seriously, something as simple as nails, but it's easy to break it down simply that way. And then, like, because it's easy to fall into your emotion you're feeling. You can't control your emotion, but you can control your mindset. So it's just like that.
You can't control your emotions. I think that's important to remember sometimes, because a lot of times we try to, and oftentimes it does make it worse. Like, I know that for me, when I've experienced even like anxiety attacks or panic attacks, I had to learn what I could do to kind of prevent it. But I learned that, you know, there's prevention techniques to be able to kind of help get into a healthy mindset and stuff. But when if those feelings start to come on, if I tried to stop it, or if I tried to like control it in any way or not feel it or whatever, it made it worse, like way worse. And I realized, I was like, okay, so emotions are something that I need to let myself feel, because if I don't, then it will affect me in negative ways.
Right.
And it'll be harder, you know? And so emotions are really important to feel, and you can't control them always. But I like how you distinguish between emotions and mindset.
Yeah.
And that's what you can control, is you're like, okay, I'm feeling this way. I'm feeling anger, right? I'm feeling so angry.
Yes.
But that's okay. Yeah. That's totally fine. You know, but what am I going to do with that emotion?
I mean, life in general is hard. It just is. Like, you can't really get around it. And stuff comes up, and stuff is hard, and things you can't control are constant. Like, you can't control anything. Yeah. And so it's like, I don't know, there's things that I've learned, I guess, through my own experiences and through my own hardships, is just, like, you can't control your emotions at all. They're going to happen, but you can control your thoughts, you can control your mindset, you can control your choices you make. So I think it's just ideal and in your best interest to have a safe space for you to have your feelings, feel them, and let it happen, because you can stop them or you can push them down, but that's what it is, pushing it down.
Yeah.
They don't go away. They go somewhere else in your body, and then they'll show up somewhere else uninvited.
Yeah.
And you will deal with it later.
Yeah.
So just deal with it now.
Yeah.
So I think it was good for me as much as I honestly felt bad about it after for a little while, like going back to my pregnancy, my second pregnancy, like for the first month or two that I felt really bad for myself, like I felt guilty that I felt that way later because I'm like, there are millions of people that struggle with fertility. There are so many people that would literally kill to be in your spot. Like, you know what I mean? And so I felt bad and I felt humbled at the same time. And I'm glad I have those thoughts, but I'm also like, no, everyone has to have their moment. Like you need your moment to feel bad and be sad and be like, devastated if that's the case. Like it just is what it is. Like I felt like a freaking wrench just was thrown in the mix. Like I'm like, no, this is absolutely not the time for me to be pregnant. I just had a baby. Yeah. I literally just got cleared from the doctor to even make love. And so why is this happening right now? Like why, you know? And I think it's okay to just have those breakdowns and have those moments, because then I feel like it was easier for me to just be like, okay, this is where we are. This is what's happening. And let's be happy about it. And let's be grateful. And, you know, you have to deal with the bad emotions and the initial shock before I think you can reach that point of just feeling very like accepting of where you are.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's so incredible. And I love hearing this, because I think that this is really valuable. Even for me, it's a good reminder, you know, moving forward in life, you know, we can forget these things. And it's really cool to hear how you've been able to implement them. So what's something that, even though that was definitely difficult, but like that you've experienced that has been like really hard in your life that you're like, and what have you learned from it?
Well, a few come to mind, but something that like we've talked about, and I brought up to you recently because it got brought up in a therapy session of mine. And so so I started going to therapy. Here's a like little segue, and then I'll get into the real thing. Okay. So I started going to therapy because I started dealing with postpartum after having my son. And it was a few months after he was born, I started to just, not feel like myself at all. I had zero resilience to anything. Like, I felt like I woke up and I was flustered. I woke up, like nothing had to happen to me for me to feel overwhelmed. Like, I didn't even have to be like, oh, the house is a mess and the kids have poopy diapers. Like, nothing had to happen for me to feel that already. Like, I woke up that way. Yeah. And I hated it because I felt like I couldn't handle even the slightest thing. Like, just my child whining for a bottle. Like, I couldn't handle it. Like, it was too much. Yeah. So I started going to therapy to try to work through that. I also went to the doctor and got my hormone levels checked. So I was like, she's off. I know. I know she's off. Like, these hormones are not in check. So I went and got those checked. And there was a few answers there that was definitely like, yeah, you're out of whack, ma'am. So got on some thyroid meds because my thyroid wasn't doing what it was supposed to.
It's awesome, though, to be able to make sure, like, finding answers can sometimes, it's stressful at first, but then, it's so nice knowing something. Not knowing is so hard.
Well, because then you can actually, like, take the next step to have a solution. So, yeah, knowing is better than not knowing.
Yeah.
But anyways, going to therapy, I found an incredible therapist. My cousin referred her to me. And she just, I don't know. I just feel like I found my match from the get-go, which is dreamy. I feel like that does not happen for everybody. It's hard to find your therapy match.
I would say it's like dating.
Yeah, it literally is.
It is a nightmare to find a good counselor sometimes. So.
Yeah, you have to find one that you match with. I really feel like that.
But it's worth it. It's worth it.
And it's hard. Like, that's just a hard process. But anyway, that's another conversation. We were just unpacking all of these things, and obviously I'm an open book, so I was just spewing all the feelings, all the thoughts. And she does, I don't even know technically what it's called. It's like a practice called NET. NET. I think it's NET, or is it NAT?
Wait, I feel like I literally just heard of this. It's the Neil Asher technique.
Okay.
It's a natural method of treatment that utilizes the body's own healing mechanisms. So no drugs, no surgery. It's the technique using a specific and unique sequence of manipulations and pressure points to the shoulder joints and soft tissues. And I think when you talk through any type of like trauma or anything as you're doing that.
Yeah, you kind of pinpoint your trigger.
Okay.
And then they ask me like, okay, let's figure out really what is triggering you.
Yeah, the root.
Yeah, and
so similar to EMDR.
Yeah.
Similar to even hypnotherapy. I've done both of those.
Yeah. It's really
it's a
cool.
neurological thing.
Yeah, and I'm a very open-minded person, so I'm like down to try whatever.
That's awesome.
I really am, but I truly haven't tried a ton of stuff though. Like when people tell me about their experiences, like they're like, I went and saw a witch doctor, she healed me, and I'm like, yes, queen. Like I don't know. I just am like, yeah, I guarantee. Like if it makes you feel better, it worked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't need to know the science behind it, whatever. But anyway, so my therapist is like, she does therapy, and then she also does NAT if you are comfortable with it. She's like, I want to do NAT on you about this or whatever.
Yeah.
And then she'll be like, is that okay? And I'm like, yes. So one thing that was brought to the surface, which I didn't like forget it. Mm-hmm. It was a memory I've always had and like held on to, but I didn't know that it was like affecting me all the time. So something was brought up.
Subconsciously still there.
Yeah. Something was brought up about like, because she pulls out this cute feelings wheel and we were talking about something and I like tell her all of the words on the feelings wheel that do connect to what we're talking about of like what I feel about it. And I have a lot of fear. I have a lot of fear with a lot of things. It's scary out there.
Yeah.
But the main thing that I feel with a lot of stuff is fear. And so we wanted to kind of figure out where that's coming from.
Yeah.
And the main thing I like talked to her about is like, I don't know. I felt like this is something that every single female thinks every day. But then I'm like kind of realize it's not normal.
What is it?
And it's like I'm in constant fear of being kidnapped.
Oh.
Yeah. Just like constant.
Yeah.
And I know everyone obviously has a fear of being kidnapped.
Yeah.
Like it's weird
be scared
if you
of that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird if you don't, if you're not scared of that.
But thinking about it or having to deal with that fear
like
or thought often.
Yeah. Like it would literally affect me just every single day. Like it affected my sleep very much. And then it also affected just me like going anywhere, like leaving the house. And like, I think since having my babies, it amplified it because then I'm scared of them being kidnapped too.
Yeah.
Like totally.
I mean, then you're protective. And so there's another little human being that you're just like.
Yes. And you like the shock of realizing that you are 100% fully responsible for the safety of that child is just too much for me to handle. Like, I'm just like, no, where's my mom? She's always the one that's in charge of that. Like, it's just scary. So anyways, and also like side note, we live in Utah and Elizabeth Smart shook us all to the core. Like that situation, I think
it just shows that it's possible in any community, any area.
Yeah, we all thought we were in a bubble and we were safe.
Yeah.
But then no, absolutely not. Now I'm just waiting to be taken out of my window, like always. Yeah. And so that was something I actually brought up in therapy. I'm like, Elizabeth Smart. Yeah. And then another thing was like, well, also like I almost got kidnapped when I was like 10 years old when I went to Mexico. And like, I like, casually mention, no, like literally I casually mention that all the time. Whenever someone's going to Mexico, I'm like, oh, I hate Mexico. I almost got kidnapped there.
I remember the first time you told me, though, I was like, hold on.
Well, I think it sounds dramatic to say almost kidnapped anyway, because it didn't actually come to fruition. I wasn't actually kidnapped.
Yeah.
I think I sound dramatic anyways, but like when I break down the story, it's actually terrifying. And I was 100% almost kidnapped.
Yeah.
And my mom saved me. My mom literally saved me. So I told her that story and she was like, oh, well, this might explain why you are literally a psycho. No. Like, I'm so terrified of being kidnapped.
Well, it gives answers and helps you understand, okay, there's a real experience. How old were you when it happened?
I was 10.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So can you explain what happened?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we were there, like, it was just my whole family. We were there on a resort, and then we went off the resort. Don't do that. To go snorkeling.
Like a little excursion thing.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you have to go off the resort to do those. But anyways, I still don't recommend it. So we like took a bus ride over to wherever the heck it was that we were snorkeling. And we did the snorkeling. It was cool, whatever. And then we were leaving. Like we were on our way to the bus to go back to the resort. Mm-hmm. And you know, there's like a lot of those like workers that have animals for you to take photos with, like little monkeys or a parrot or something. There was a lot of those there. Yeah. And it was kind of like, I mean, I was 10. So we got kind of past the touristy area a little bit, but it was on the docks of the ocean, like right there. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of where we were walking, was along the docks, and I spotted 2 men with a parrot. Mm-hmm. And me being a 10-year-old girl, I just got sidetracked, and I like literally beelined over there to go see the parrot.
Understandably.
And I mean, now like when I do kind of remember it, they definitely weren't employees. They didn't have the like bright blue colored button up with their name tag on it. Like, but anyway, so I ran over there.
That wouldn't be obvious to a kid necessarily. Yeah.
No, and I was just a kid, just excited to go check out a parrot. Yeah. So I ran away from my family without them noticing immediately. I didn't tell anyone I was doing that. I just ran over there. And I like kind of stood there, and the guys were like, "Oh, do you want to hold the parrot?" And I was like, yeah. And then I do remember feeling an immediate, like, kind of nervous feeling, and like feeling like, oh, I need to get my mom first. Like, I shouldn't do this without her.
Yeah.
And so then they were like, well, yeah, you can hold it. You can take a picture with it, whatever. And then I was just like, well, actually, I need to get my mom. And so I said that. And then they were like, no, you don't need to get your mom. It's fine. You can just hold the parrot. And then I was like, nervous again, and I was like, no, I'm gonna go get her. So then they both grabbed my arms and started to walk away with me down the docks, and I literally turn, because I was immediately terrified. I turn and
you were kind of probably
look for my mom
though.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, like, I think a lot of people would be like, well, why wouldn't you scream for help? Like, why wouldn't you try to run away or something?
No, I was 100% frozen. Didn't
a lot of
speak
times
a word.
That's the response. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and now that you're saying that, actually, this was what I was talking to my therapist about, because I was like telling her about this fear I have being kidnapped, and I'm like, I just feel like I would freeze. I don't feel like I would fight or even flee. Like, I'm not a fight or flight. I'm a freeze.
Yeah.
I just will sit here. Yeah. Like, I think I will be in silence, and I will let it happen to me.
Wow.
Like, and that's another thing that terrified me, because like, I 100% pictured, I mean, I was planning to be kidnapped every day leaving my house. Like, it was not good. But I just thought that's what everyone thought about. And she was like, well, you seem like a strong, confident woman that could kick them in the balls, run away. Yeah. Excuse my French. And I'm like, yeah, I could, but I don't feel like I would. Like, I don't think that would be my reaction.
Yeah.
And so that was the main reason we wanted to do NAT on me, to try to heal that response of freezing. Yeah. So anyway, back to the story. They're starting to walk me away. Luckily, they weren't moving very fast. And I turned to like look to find my family, and me and my mom just make eye contact, like, literally. And I'm like terrified. And then she's like, I can see she's terrified. And then she just screams my name and is like, Addee. And she just starts booking it towards me and just yelling my name. They both notice her, the 2 men do, and they just drop me and run down the docks. So like,
oh my God.
What else was happening? I was 100% about to be kidnapped, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's terrifying. Even thinking about it, I get like I feel nervous.
Yeah.
So yeah, we did an NAT on me with that, about that experience. And it was amazing. Like, she basically rewired it in my brain. Like, we went through the entire experience again while I had my eyes closed, and like, held the pressure point that I was supposed to, like, it's like right here on my wrist.
Yeah,
and
that's a common one.
You like put your hand right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so weird. Like the first time I was just like, what am I doing? Like it's just
so weird.
I still don't
kind of hokey pokey a little bit.
It absolutely feels hokey pokey.
Yeah.
And I still was just like, I'm not going to question it. If it helps me, great, you know?
Yeah.
So, and it did, like, it was crazy. She just went through the whole experience again. And then she was like telling me, like, it was cool. So she had me act like myself, or picture myself now as an adult woman watching the situation happen, watching my younger self. And she said, I want you to walk over there, grab your younger self from these men, hold her, like embrace her, tell her she's safe and that she's okay. And then I want you to hold her hand and walk her away down the dock. And maybe your husband's at the end there. Like, I was sobbing. I literally was just sobbing. And I didn't expect that, but I just was like overwhelmed with emotion. So I was walking myself down the dock, and then Colton was with us, and she's like, and you're safe now. Like, you're safe. You're okay. This didn't happen to you. You didn't get kidnapped. So you're okay. And it's just like, I feel like it did like patch a little Band-Aid over that memory. And it truly has helped me immensely. It's kind of crazy. And she told me after that, she's like, I just want you to feel this feeling of fear. And I want you to let it just flow from like the top of your body all the way down to your feet. And I want you to let it exit your body. And it was insane. I felt like this rush of like heat of energy, like from the top of my head down to my feet. I was like shook.
I've experienced that. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
It sounds crazy.
It does.
But it's real.
No, yeah. You can call me crazy, but it happened. Like literally, it was wild. I was just like, I literally felt it leave my body.
Wow.
And so, yeah, I felt so much like lighter after that. And I haven't been nearly as afraid as I have in the past. And I've felt like more empowered in like myself in being able to fight back or at least yell for help if something does happen to me.
Yeah.
Because I luckily have never been in a situation like that ever again. But I mean, I'm on the TikToks, I'm on the Instagrams, and so I see them. People freaking post stuff all the time. Like, I was being followed around Target, and I'm like, great, can't go to Target. Like, literally. So I'm just like on high alert all the time, but I'm also, I feel so much more empowered rather than like that little girl. Because it's kind of like that. Like, I was stuck in my 10-year-old state. That was my response to something like that. Or just fear in general was to just freeze and let it happen to me.
Wow.
And it's weird that it pulled me out of that, made me realize like, you don't actually have to let it happen to you.
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay. You can stick up for yourself. You can speak up. You can fight back.
Yeah.
You're a grown woman now.
Yeah.
You're not a 10-year-old girl.
Yeah.
And it just shook me after that appointment that even got brought up, A. B, that it had been that was the real reason this was affecting me.
Yeah.
All the time. Like, I literally.
You went in about postpartum, and then that came up, and you're like, oh, I didn't realize a lot of anxiety was coming from an experience when I was 10. Like, and you probably wouldn't have ever figured that out until going and doing the work.
Right. No, literally. I don't think I would have. I think I would have just lived in this terrible headspace forever. And so it's definitely been freeing for my fear. Like, fear is a very relevant feeling I still feel, but it's not nearly like it used to be.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I can relate in a totally different way, where I learned that, I mean, sitting here, I'm thinking like, okay, so the sexual abuse I experienced, I definitely froze. I definitely froze. And so there's a new thing they've discovered, like scientifically and with the brain, that there's fight, flight, freeze, fawn. Have you heard of fawn?
No.
So fawn is when you, in order to survive, right? One of the survival tactics that some people will tend to lean towards is pleasing other people. So if you, out of fear of trying to survive or stay alive or safe or something, you feel like you need to please whatever person it is that you feel in danger with, or
unsafe,
attacked with emotionally or with whatever.
Yeah.
And so going through the sexual abuse, I realized that I experienced freezing for the sexual part and fawning for the emotional part.
Yeah.
But I also grew up with all my family members, they tend to fight, when it comes to fight and flight, probably.
Yeah.
And so I have a little bit of that too. So I have kind of like all the things, which is great.
She's a combo.
I'm a combo. I'm still learning and healing from those things, but I've come a long way. But I can see that.
Oh.
And it's really helpful when it comes to healing because one, it helps you have self-compassion because you're like, okay, I don't feel guilty or shameful or think that I was stupid because I know that I was doing what I felt like I needed to do in order to survive.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing. And I think that, a lot of people might struggle where they're like, why would I freeze? Like, why would I do that?
Oh, yeah.
And I even had, people be like, why didn't you say no? Like there was sexual abuse I experienced prior to adulthood that, I would have people ask me like, well, why wouldn't you say no? And I was like, well, I don't know. Like, I didn't really know what was happening.
Yeah.
And I was scared and I don't know, but I would freeze. And as I
that makes
older,
you feel like dumb.
Yeah.
It makes you feel kind of stupid. You're like, well, yeah.
Yeah.
I know that's probably what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And like, that's
like
another reason.
They think it's an obvious thing. And
right.
it seems like it's an obvious thing.
Yeah. But it's like, it's a trigger response. It's a trauma response. It's a fear response. Like, you are almost like, I don't know. Like, that's why I went to brought that up in therapy was like, I'm mad that that's what I feel like I would do is like just freeze and let something happen to me when I know I've seen all of the people tell me what to do when I am being attacked. Yeah. Like everyone's like, step one, have this. Like I have pepper spray on my keychain, but I still don't think I would use, like, I don't think I would even remember I had it on me. Like, I feel like I need to go to freaking jujitsu training or something to like train me to know what to do. Like, it's like in a situation, if somebody pointed a gun at your face, nobody knows what to do if a gun is in your face. Yeah. Unless you are trained. Yeah. Like a police officer probably knows what to do when a gun's in their face. Yeah. But you can't expect a random civilian walking down the street to know how to react when a gun is in their face. Yeah. Like some people act crazy on these freaking videos that people have or on TV shows or movies. Like, you're like, what are they supposed to, like, like they don't know how to act when an actual something is life-threatening in your face. How do you know?
I think, so something that I did get better at as I got older was, saying no and fighting. Quickly, I went from freezing, fighting, fawning is what I kind of experienced. But there was still a little bit of fight in me. Growing up, I had to kind of fight for myself. So I still always had that in me. And I learned a lot in that process. I've had a lot of mamas talk to me about how they have this postpartum like anxiety that someone's going to break into their house and kill their baby. And they're like, they'll tell their husband and their husband's like,
you're insane.
Like, why are you having these thoughts? Yeah. And they're like, I don't know. And a lot of that can be chemical or it can be stemming from something. And it's so cool that you were willing to go and do the deep work. Yeah. And it's uncomfortable and it's scary. It is really very hard to do. And I respect you for doing that.
Thank you. I respect you immensely because you're the poster girl for just healing yourself and taking care of yourself, honestly. Like, you're such an amazing example of that. I had another experience that I won't talk about because we probably don't have time, but like my mom went through having cancer. Yeah. So I went to therapy after that, but I literally went to 2 sessions. And then I was like, I'm good. I have what I need. Moving on. Yeah. And like, it didn't, like, therapy, luckily for me, hasn't had like a crazy, like it's a taboo topic, I guess, but like I haven't been like terrified to go or anything.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I'm lucky in the sense that and maybe I don't remember some things, but I feel like I've had a very good childhood and like good experiences. Like my mom getting cancer was the worst thing that's ever happened to me at that point in my life. And it was in 2018. So like I had years where I felt like I was lucky was blessed that I just hadn't really had anything where I felt needed to go, like I needed to go to therapy, which I almost got kidnapped, and I realized that as an adult in therapy that I probably should have gone to therapy for it. But like, it's hard to go initially, and then it's very hard to continue it, and it's really hard to actually take what you get from that and apply it to your life daily and practice the things you need to for your self-healing, because it truly is up to you.
So true.
So yeah, I'm proud of you.
Proud of you.
Thank you.
Your mom is literally an angel.
I know.
I love your mom so much, and every single time I get to be around her, I just feel her true, genuine, loving spirit. She is an incredible human being. And so I was there while that was all happening, just, as your client and friend and stuff. But like I didn't see everything, but it just broke my heart. It makes me emotional because you're so sweet. You and her are both just such incredible human beings. And to go through something like that is really hard. And, you can question like, why? Like,
oh, literally.
Why is someone so amazing having to experience this, And,
I know.
And then you go through your own part of it too, being someone of a loved one where you can't control this and you don't want to take it away from, your mom. You don't want her to experience this. And it's just so scary and hard. And, the fears associated with all of that too. And so I just like, I love you and your mom so much. And you both had to go through a lot during that.
Yes.
She's doing better.
Oh,
now.
Yeah. She's doing great. Yeah. She's been cancer-free ever since February of 2019. So she's doing great, literally. Wow. And it was so hard. And it's weird because, maybe it's not weird, but it's not weird because I talked about this earlier. I know this, but like, I definitely pushed down all of my emotions I was feeling during the process to like be strong and swoop in and just help with my brothers and my dad. Yeah. And it all came crashing down right after she was cleared and free of cancer. Like all of a sudden I was anxiety attacks, not sleeping, like I was not okay. And I was like, she is okay. Why am I melting down now? Like I should have been melting down months ago. Like, but I didn't ever address my emotions. I just felt
that's so interesting.
I needed to just come in and like I almost felt like I needed to kind of replace her as the mom because I have all little brothers and I have a dad who is dreamy, but he's also like, my mom takes really good care of him. So he kind of like, and I'm not that he needs to be taken care of, but he is taken care of. Yeah. So I felt the need to swoop in and like help with everything while she was down, which I think you should do when your loved one is going through something so horrible like that.
Not too much. Taking on too much of the responsibility can be really hard on you, your marriage, your own family. Like, it's important to make sure you keep it balanced. But when you first were telling me this, I remember realizing, and I was kind of thinking like, hey, you were just in survival mode. It was so terrifying and it was hard and painful and there's so much fear, but yet you stepped into where you needed to be in order to survive that moment. Yeah. And I think afterwards when you felt it kind of all come all at once and it was like hit you like a train. Yes. I think that's very common for certain people who go through things where they don't necessarily have the time to fully process it or like allow themselves, like they can still a little bit, but like sometimes you have to step into a certain place. Yeah. Like you take on a role. Yeah. Yeah. And that's normal. That's totally normal. And I think it's really important though for us to remember, okay, I at some point I have to take a step back. Yeah. Put me first. And, I think a lot of single moms can experience something like this where like they're worried about their children going through the divorce. There's so many situations in life where this can happen. Yeah. So it's really interesting to hear. I think a lot of people can relate in their own ways. Yeah, because it's just one of those things where, like, you have to, like, face the fact that, like, if you're giving too much of yourself, it will start to... You won't be able to give exactly what is needed anyway. Like as a mother, like if you're not well, then you're not being able to be there for your kids like you want to be anyway. Yeah. So it's just, I feel like at some point in any hard situation where you are setting aside yourself and like almost like self-sacrificing for whatever is going on or whoever needs you, it'll hit you that like, I'm actually not
helping like I want to, or I'm not being.
You can only go so far with that.
Right.
Your gas tank runs out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's like, it's very important to sit and give yourself the time you need through all the things. Yeah.
I am so glad and grateful that you're willing to open up about all this, because you've given so much good insight. And I remember before when I asked you, you're like, why me? Like, I don't feel like I have anything. And I'm like, yes, you do. Everyone does.
Yeah,
and that's
everyone
so
does.
important to realize, that like anyone watching or listening has their own experiences in life and their own value to provide to the world, even if it's a 30, 45-minute conversation, you know, that can really impact someone's life. And so being vulnerable and raw is just a power in and of itself. It's a strength that really people need. And so I really appreciate you being willing to come and talk about all these things and share like your fun and cute personality. And everyone needs to have that in their life. Your personality has been a blessing to me, because you were there while I was going through a lot, and I just loved being around you. I remember telling my mom that, and I was just like, I loved it. You were a friend to me. You weren't just a nail tech. And so
well, you're a friend to me too.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm so glad that I've been able to do that for you. I mean, if your nail tech's not your friend, I mean, you gotta get a new one. Because literally, I feel like it's just, we're holding hands and we are chatting about the life things, and we need to be friends. Yeah. So I'm glad you feel that way.
I'm glad I can trust you. I've trusted you as one of my actually most trustworthy friends. So I really do mean that.
I literally appreciate that. I'm honored that you would say that. I think trust is the most important thing in any relationship. So I strive to be trustworthy. So thank you.
You are.
Thanks.
Thank you for being here. I really love you so much.
I love you.
So
thank you. It's so nice.
This is
so
such
good.
a great conversation. I'm excited for everyone to hear it.
Yay, me too.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks so much for watching or listening. If you liked this episode, subscribe and follow along. If there's someone you feel like would be a good fit for the show, feel free to send me recommendations on Instagram at alifeworthliving.show. I appreciate you guys so much, and I'm grateful to have you here. And until next time, have a great week.